be very interested to hear about this group that you've set up called Business Success in the Digital Age, because we kind of live in a very different age now, don't we?
Well, look, thanks for having me on, Mike. That business is working in at the moment is it's just changing beyond recognition. And even if you just go back my customers online, and that may have been enough, and it's certainly going to do you okay. Without them even recognizing that. So that's really why I've set this group up, is to try and help some of these business owners and people that work within business to understand that a bit better.
So the kind of people maybe done it a certain way for the last 10 years and it's worked for them, but they're maybe thinking the phones aren't ringing as often as they used to. We're not getting as many email inquiries as we used to.
Yeah, so I would say the answer to that is yes and yes. And in actual fact, even people that think they know a great deal about it, or in actual fact have a specific amount of knowledge on one particular subject. So my philosophy is that we've all got a piece of the puzzle. But there's very few of us that actually know all about it. So my background is all in video production. I run a video production company. And initially this was going to be all about how do you do your own better videos for business. But what I found was the questions coming in were then related to what happens before that and after that, and around websites and social media and podcasts and everything related. So I've widened the scope really to include everyone. And by doing that, what I'm hoping to create is a collaborative group, so that you come with questions and you come with knowledge as well, because everyone's got experience of what they've already done. And that way we can all help each other and listen to the problems and give answers where you feel you've got information to give.
Which kind of works hand in hand. We had Paula Brand here earlier on this morning, and we were chatting about best practice, sharing of best practice. Although we're all in our own businesses, we all want to make a living, there's nothing wrong with saying, actually, guys, if you try, this is what worked for me, and I increased my business by 15% by doing this. Even if you're in the same industry, there's nothing wrong with sharing best practice.
Yeah, that is exactly right. And I also think there's nothing wrong with admitting I don't know what I'm doing in one specific area. So there's a lot of pressure on businesses and business owners when you're in a conversation, how things are going. Oh yeah, they're great, everything's fine. And they're not. And you're trying to engage with an audience, and you're not getting the feedback, you're not getting clicks onto your website, you're not getting orders, but you don't want to admit that. And the first step is you've got to admit that. You've got to admit that you need help. Sometimes you want to engage a professional, but that costs money. But why not, if your questions are more broad, come to a group like this, and you might find the answers you're after, and you might find areas where you can collaborate with someone, you might find someone you can work with, or someone you can engage professionally. And it might be just enough to get you that first foothold into the new sort of business landscape.
And it's interesting as well, we were discussing this with Paula, that even 5 years ago, anybody that said, I run a business from home, that's a hobby, you're just playing at this. Actually, from personal experience, you work far more hours when you're working from home than you would do if you're on a standard 9 to 5.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I mean, I myself has just recently transitioned from a corporate role into a home business, and let me tell you, it's not the honeymoon that it's sometimes painted to be, but at the same time you get your own freedom and you get to make your decisions yourself, and that's the attraction. But it is a business, and it is more than a full-time job.
What we'll do when we come back, we'll have a music track now, have a quick break, then we'll come back to you, and we'll talk about if people want to join your group or at least come along and find out. You can give us some information about that. And in the meantime, we'll play this. If Robert Carr if he had one particular favourite song, he's one of our regular listeners here on Logan 101. One favourite song, it would be this from Cat Stevens. If you go on YouTube and you just type in Old School Yard by Cat Stevens, there is an amazing video that accompanies that. And when you consider the era that particular track was out, it's like a little movie. It's very, very good. Just joined us, welcome along. A guest in this hour. We've been talking about his group, Business Success in the Digital Age. And we were chatting off air a second ago, Darren, about when you set up your own business, especially in the early days to start up to get through.
Yeah, it really is. And to be honest, that's one of the things that this group can really help with, because what you need to do is get a following. You need to create an audience. This day and age, people are savvy with the way that they buy and purchase. They want to know, who are you? Who am I buying from? Who's behind the business that I'm talking to? And then they need to feel like they trust you. So you as a business owner, you really need to get out there and create a following of your own with a community that trusts you. And the best way to do that is through social media, because they can select who they talk to. And again, video plus social media through 2016, 2017 is going to be huge. And again, that is what this group is going to help you with. And once you do that, you can afford to then start to turn down the jobs you don't really want to take on.
I mean, it's interesting. Back in my day, when you started out in business, you took an advert out in Yellow Pages and waited for the phone to ring. Yeah. And that's how it works. These days, I'm glad I don't work for them, actually. These days, it's kind of different. Why did you make the move from the corporate environment to the big wide world of being a business owner?
To be honest, I was in senior management for 10 years, various industries across rail, defence, construction. Very successful and particularly unhappy, to be quite honest with you. And it just got to a point where I really needed to pursue a passion. I wanted to feel like I was doing something for myself. And the plan was to launch in June this year. However, the big nasty redundancy caught up with me in October last year, so I had to accelerate all my plans. And to be honest, it's going really well. I've had to change my priorities because I now need to replace that income. So I am at the moment saying yes to everything.
As you do,
But having said that, utilising the plans that I'm actually sort of giving away, and that's. This group really isn't about anything other than helping people. So when you come along to this group, you get given free tips that you can take away in action that day. And it will be anything from video to social media to podcasting to Periscope. And I probably need to get in touch with Vanessa from yesterday.
I think that she is absolutely the expert on Periscope. I mean, she got me converted. I've got it on my phone now. I have no idea how to use it. And she was trying to explain about getting followings and whatever. But this is just another way that the world is changing, and the business world in particular is changing.
That's right. And the social media landscape is so enormous that it's daunting for most businesses. When they start looking at, what have I got to do to create lead generation, landing pages, a following, an audience, trust, it's so overwhelming. And that's the point of this group, again, is to just break that down. We're going to concentrate on different subjects each time we meet. The next meeting is going to be on the 3rd of February. It's going to be concentrating on doing your own video. So I'll be taking that one, and I'll be teaching you tips on how to actually put together videos yourself using the equipment you probably already have around the house to keep the budget down. Because if you are constantly posting video onto social media, then it's just going to help you with your visibility to your audience. Then when we start talking about social media, that in itself won't be one session. It's such a massive subject in itself. I mean, there's Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. Half of these I'm not even on yet, and some you might not need to. But when you understand them, you'll figure out which ones can work for you.
So if people are interested in just coming along to the group, there's no obligation. They don't have to sign up anything. They can just turn up, say hello, join in, sit in. How does it work? Where do they go?
Yes, that's correct. So there's two main ways. On Facebook, if you just type in the search bar at the top, Business Success in the Digital Age, the group will come up. You can join there and you'll find all the information on there. And the other way is through meetup.com. I know, again, Vanessa talked about that yesterday.
Oh, yes.
And so if you go onto there and, again, search for Business Success in the Digital Age, you'll find the group, and then you just you join the group and then RSVP. I'm trying to keep the sessions free at the moment, so and hopefully that will continue.
And that in itself is a positive, because, when you're starting up in a business, every expense counts. Yeah. And it doesn't matter whether it's your advertising, and even time. People forget what is your time worth?
Absolutely.
If you're working 15, 16 hours a day, which is not unusual on a startup, can I afford another $100? Can I afford $50? Can I really afford anything? So what you're offering sounds great, and certainly what we'll do is we'll put your link on our Facebook page as well, just to show that we're deep down with the kids here. We know how this social media stuff works. Although I got to say, Darren, after Vanessa was here yesterday, I know nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Well, you know more than you did yesterday.
That's very true, and hopefully after this I'll know more than I did the day before. Anyway, it's been a pleasure chatting to you. I wish you luck with not only the group but your own business as well.
Yeah, thanks very much.
It's a huge step to take, but obviously with the right attitude and determination you shall do well.
Thank you very much for having me on.
So there you are, Darren Burgess, business success in the digital age. We'll put a link up on the Facebook page later on today. And it sounds, I'll tell you how good this group sounds. Right, here's how the week's gone. Right, yesterday, Vanessa O'Brien, Periscope. I've signed up for Periscope. Today, Paula Brand, come and have lunch with me, 27th of January. Going to do that. And now I'm going to turn up at your next meeting because this sounds fascinating.
Fantastic.